website for details.
We are anticipating any second the monetary policy decision out of the European Central Bank. The euro has been declining against the dollar as we wait for this monetary policy decision. 11 of the 52 economists we surveyed here at Bloomberg expect the ECB will bring its benchmark interest rate down from 1.5%. And while we await this decision, let's go to David Tweed in Berlin. He's our European economics correspondent. David, give us some of the context, the backdrop for the pressures that the ECB is under right now.
Well, I mean, the pressures are clearly the slowing economic growth, the indicators that have shown that the European economy is slowing and is likely to slow even more, maybe even skirting or going into recession by the end of the year. But on the other hand, you also have inflation, which came in at September, Eric, 3%, which is well above the target of the ECB, around about 2%. Now, there is speculation. 1 out of 5 economists that we've been speaking to thinks that the European Central Bank may go ahead and actually cut interest rates, partly because this is Jean-Claude Trichet's last meeting after leading the ECB for 8 years. Next month, it's going to be Mario Draghi, an Italian, and this guy has to establish his inflation-fighting credentials early. He's Italian. Many people are worried that Italians aren't going to show enough strictness, if you like, about following the monetary policy. But as I said, most people expecting the ECB to stay on hold, although it's possible they may cut, Eric.
Well, let's bring it. You know what, David, excuse me. The ECB has left its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 1.5%. So no change in monetary policy from the ECB so far as we can see at the moment. And it's important to mention there was an important change in monetary policy from the Bank of England earlier this hour, extending its quantitative easing program to £275 billion. This is a good opportunity to bring back our friend and contributing editor, advisor to the Boston Fed, former member of the BOE's Monetary Policy Committee, Danny Blanchflower. So, Danny, the ECB did not wither, did not bend in the face of that action from the BOE. The right decision, the wrong decision, in your opinion?
Well, it's the right decision for the MPC. The MPC, I'm sure, would have been really pleased, because the moment they made their decision, the pound fell against the euro, going to give the UK a nice stimulus, and the ECB once again are involved in madness. I mean, they made this same kind of mistake in 2008 when they raised rates, when the economy had gone into a recession. They've now raised rates twice this year. There's no threat of inflation. And actually, the Bank of England, I said a few minutes ago, the Bank of England talked about the problems in the euro area, and they said in their statement, the problems in the euro area and bank funding threaten the UK economy. So this is an indirect effect to the UK economy. But once again, the ECB sit there and does nothing. I'm just astonished by their incompetence. And the last time, what we've seen, which is really interesting, just think about what these high rates do to countries like Greece and Spain and Portugal. And on all the previous meetings, the governors of those central banks have voted for it. When you announced the decision, I sat there and shook my head. I have no idea what they're up to. This is really bad for Europe, but it's good for the US and it's good for the UK, because we will take sensible monetary policy decisions and take advantage against the euro area. This is just crazy.
Danny, crazy, impossible to explain. I love hearing the perspective from Danny Blanchflower. And Danny, I want to point out to everybody that you are a veteran of monetary policy decisions, having sat on the Bank of England's MPC. Danny Blanchflower, contributing editor, and I do want to tell you, everybody, U.S. equity index futures paring their gains after this ECB decision. Oil also coming off its gains this morning. There you can see it, S&P futures up about 0.2%. New York crude at least trading still above $80 a barrel. We've seen it a lot lower, but it was higher this morning, now up. As you can see, the gains are still evaporating, just less than 0.8%. When we return on the Inside Track, some of the world's most influential names pay tribute to the singular Steve Jobs. It's part of our top story this morning. Stay tuned.
within it.
As we look back on the incredible career and life of Steve Jobs, I'd like to take a moment to consider some of the tributes pouring in overnight. President Obama said simply, "The world has lost a visionary." News Corp CEO Rupert Murdoch paid Jobs a great compliment, saying Steve Jobs was simply the greatest CEO of his generation. Microsoft Chairman Bill Gates tweeted, "For those of us lucky enough to get to work with Steve, it's been an insanely great honor." And Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, who called Jobs a mentor, posted this on his Facebook page. "Thanks for showing that what you can build can change the world. I'll miss you." We're back now with my colleagues Scarlett Fu, Stephanie Ruhle,